you need to make sure you see kind of the progression of what it is you need to teach throughout that YAG throughout the whole year.
But I start with my TEKs and I really think about what is the thing that I need them to know, what is it that I want them to do, and what is a fun way for them to show me that they understand, and then make sure that it applies to the real world.
You know, on Forethought, it has a nice little list of your TEKs, and so I love that because it tells me what I've checked off and what I haven't.
I will take the TEK itself and I'll look for that verb that shows us what they really want us to do, but then I'll try to tailor the activity that we're going to do to the things that they like to do in class. And I like to give them a lot of personal choice.
Correct. And I'm just like constantly checking through the TEKs and making sure whatever I'm covering in my notes or my activities or whatever it is are covering those standards that are set.
It's pretty easy with English especially because the 4 basics that we have to have in all of our lessons is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And so I make sure that I touch base on all of those, but there's fun and creative ways that we can do all 4 of those and apply the standards.
And this is where you get a chance to create or steal or take whatever things that you need in order to help these students out. You will find that balance to where you can kind of progress the class at a good amount based on what each of them are capable of doing.
But I always try to do something, have a conversation, or an activity, do something else, have an activity. And then at the end, there's some sort of create in your own way. So I try to structure it where info, discuss, apply with peers, discuss, and then apply alone.
You have to make sure that you are preparing in a way that's going to make it possible to give timely feedback.
And then the after part is kind of what's hard to plan for because kids take different amounts of time. So I always over plan. So if I need to add stuff in, I already have it made for all those kids that just need a little bit extra time, or even the kids that are finishing really early.
So first of all, we do 15 minutes of independent read, which is one of our TEK standards. We'll do 15 minutes of grammar, and then 20 minutes of me teaching a lesson, 20 to 30 minutes of a group activity with 20 minutes to lead 4 students to do independent work, always leaving a little bit of time at the end to do a wrap up or an exit ticket or something to make sure that all those lesson ideas have come into focus at the very end. So whenever I add technology into my classroom, it is not a substitution for what a paper would do. I want it to be at that higher level of the Bloom's taxonomy where we're doing creativity.
You know, if they're using it for creation of some kind, for creating a video to help explanation, or, you know, creating to show to help other kids see what's been going on.
Because they use it and I use it, but the biggest thing for me is that I need to show them how we use it correctly, how can it help them expand their ideas, how can they take that idea expansion and put it into something super cool, and then incorporate concepts that maybe they never thought that they would do in high school level.
And so now students only carry an iPad. They're not losing a binder, they're not losing their notes because everything's in one place. There's no excuse for them to lose anything because they have everything.
So I'm really looking at the output itself. So I want them to show me that they understand the concept that we're focusing on from the TEK and then apply it into a world, into their personal world.
Well, and to be able to go to them and say, hey, it looks like you're doing this. This might not be the right way. Let's see if we can fix this up a little bit. It's just a constant gauge of the classroom as you're teaching on that informal scale.
And so most of the time I will use a Google form just to do a check-in to make sure that they're on pace. That's something I can check very fast. However, I also like to use lead forward strategies, and I came up with a choice board that now the high school has adapted, and it's all different kinds of activities that they can do in a 5-minute quick check.
And let's say the class did real well, hammered it out. Good, we're moving on. That's great. If they have an formal assessment where it's not that great, then we need to backtrack a little bit or slow down or try to do something that is different to get them to try to learn that material a little bit better.
A student that is kind of on the cusp and then one that is really a little bit more comfortable with that topic, and you can use that to pair them together for collaborative learning. And so you don't have a huge gap.
When they're finished with that bell ringer, I know within a minute what they need help on and what they don't need help on. So that helps me like pivot whatever I need to be teaching in class.
Right. If it is just a few students, we can definitely do that in concentrated smaller group activities at the beginning during bell ringer or at the end where I'm walking around and monitoring what's going on at their tables.
So when I know a student has like mastered the topic, when I can see them teaching it to another person, then I know they've got it. If they can teach something, then they're good. That should really help you in terms of lesson planning when you're grouping kids on assignments or when you're partnering kids up. Putting the lower level kids or the kids who aren't getting the topic as well would be really beneficial if you're putting them with the kids who do understand the topic and can even teach those kids who are not getting it just yet.
If I see that they are getting the concept, I'm going to even dig deeper. Tutorials is always a great spot for me to really concentrate on just those few students that are struggling. But if it is a whole group, we'll definitely reteach.
But in order for students to be successful, I feel throughout the time that I've taught, you have to build a relationship with them somehow. And that relationship built is, understanding the student, understanding where they come from, understanding who they are, what their likes, dislikes are, to a certain degree. And that can be a challenge, but I'll guarantee you once they know you and you know them to a certain level and you built a relationship, then they will perform better than they actually could just coming into the classroom itself.
What they're involved in. If they have a job, if they are going to be gone a lot for this, that, or the other. I just really think it's important that kids know you care.
And if they are having a rough time at home, or if they're not feeling good that day, or there's just something that has been interfering with their learning, they can fill out that Google form and it gives them certain questions to let me know what's going on in their lives so I can help them with day-to-day, just hard stuff.
Steal everything at the beginning. And then after you steal it and use it, so you see how it works, make it your own.
But I think baby steps, it's like learning one thing at a time, mastering that, just like we want our kids to do, and then using that and building on top of it.
Overplan. Don't underplan, overplan. Those minutes that you don't know what to do with are going to be the minutes that you regret at the end of the day.
What I wish I had done probably is make a list of like the top 5 or the top 10 places that I'm going to pull resources from, and then kind of just put the other stuff on back burner. Like get through your first year or two and then start pulling from more places if you want.
And so my best piece of advice is just love those kids and to meet them where they're at and help build them forward.